impact industrial output rebounded in May, up 2.4% after declining the month before. Remember, that's well below the average of 9% growth experienced before the slowdown.
Well, factory output has been subdued in India as Europe's debt crisis saps demand for exports. Let's get perspective now on how these global challenges are affecting global business. With us is Gurnani. He's the chief executive of Mahindra Satya, an international IT business. Great to have you on the program. I know your colleague's quite CP, so that's what we're going to do here on City Central as well. How do you recover from, you had a big scandal at your company. How do you recover from that? I guess here in the UK we have our own scandals. We're talking about all of this for the last 10 days. What kind of advice would you give them?
If you look at the timing, it's 2009 when the scandal happened in India regarding Satya, and now in 2012, just about 3 years later. I can tell you is that the team at Satya, the transition from Satya to Mahindra Satya, had to work very hard to be transparent, had to gain the trust of first the employees, because employees are your biggest ambassadors. Employees, if they buy into you, they are the ones who serve your customers, they are the ones who go and talk to people in the society, and I think we had to attack it not as a one program, we had to do it as multiple programs. So we had to address government, customers, employees, public, society, and it took a lot of effort. It doesn't happen. I mean, you damage your reputation, you go through a scandal. I mean, it takes a lot of effort. It took many quarters, but the good news is that we are back in business. Not only back in business, we have had straight 8 quarters of earning growth, and I think the performance speaks for itself that the employees at Mahindra Satyam have not only turned around the company, but we're looking forward to integrating with Tech Mahindra now.
The tech space in India is a tough place at the moment. We saw the emphasis numbers out this morning, and the share price decline was fairly clear to see. The Indian economy as a whole is finding life very, very tough at the moment as well. You've seen the declines, the sharp declines we've seen in the rupee. What needs to happen now from a policy perspective to get that economy back on track? What advice would you be giving the government?
I guess life is all relative. As you just said, 9% versus 2.4% in 1 month. And if you go around the world, I mean, you know that the Fed data is not going to tell you that US economy is rebound. I mean, you know that it is nervousness everywhere. I strongly believe that government has to exactly do what me as a CEO have to do, which is to communicate, be transparent, and be clear about what your program is every month, every quarter. And right now, I think government is not communicating enough. We do know that India needs to spend a lot of money on infrastructure. That having 6 hours of brownouts, power cuts a day, I think it's an economy, in an economy which wants to be a big player in the world economy, cannot afford to have. You cannot afford to have a Bombay to Pune, a road of 100 miles, taking 3.5 hours. So there is a lot to be done, and there are people who are willing to invest. More often than not, I think the government needs to accelerate their program where they make sure that the roadblocks are removed, and overall I think private sector is ready to participate in the economic growth.
But the infrastructures and the infrastructure projects you're talking about can take 5, 10 years, decades to be implemented. Is there anything that the central bank can do for a quicker fix?
I mean, again, we've seen these experiments of rate cuts, rate increases, and changing some of the quick ratios in terms of deposits, CLRs. My personal belief is that Indian economy is really in a very, very, very resilient. And for us, if we give up the message that we are back into growth phase, we are willing to remove the bottlenecks, and we are not getting saddled away by trying to dig up that swamp of 10 years ago or 20 years ago, I think we'll do well.
All right, thank you so much. More to come.
in his sights. The company needs to scale up and find out there are a few complicated by the bigger rivals. Tata Consultancy, which also reports today, dropped as much as 3.2%. Wipro, India's third largest software exporter, declined as much as 5% as well.
Now, researcher Gartner forecasts that global IT spending will grow but at a slower pace this year. It blames the Eurozone crisis, a slowdown in China, and a weaker recovery in the U.S. economy.
So with us, Gurnani, he's the chief executive of Merenda Satya, effectively a company that competes with all of these businesses that we've just been mentioning. What's the read across from what they've been saying today to what your business is doing right now?
I think the weather report cannot be wrong in this particular case.
No.
The reality is that the headwinds are very, very strong right now, whether they come from US or whether they come from Europe or even China or India. So, and those signs are real. And anybody who has got money to spend is clearly looking at, what are my immediate returns. So, IT sector on one end is getting impacted. The other end is that I still believe that it's a time to be engineer. It's time to redo the processes. Many times, when you are in a growth mode, when the times are good, you all create IT systems to meet different requirements. And they create their own complexity over a period of time. Sure. So I strongly believe that the return on investment can be given. And the reality is that it's time to simplify the processes. It's time to invest in some of the newer technologies. And this is what at Mahindra Satya we are trying to communicate. This is what brought me to UK. I came for the Mahindra Air Show. And obviously I've met a lot of leading manufacturers, leading OEMs, tier 1 suppliers to the OEMs. And I believe that when you start getting a business transformation message instead of just an IT messages, people are very impressive.
And you're looking for acquisitions. Are you how actively are you looking? Did you speak to people on your trip here in the UK?
Not in this trip, because as I said, my trip was mainly around the Mahindra Air Show, and I was focusing really on building a better ecosystem where we should play a more significant role from engineering services, both from aerostructure design, interior design, electrical design, and avionics. And so the focus really was around that space. And but overall, yes, we are in the market. We are looking at acquisitions. And
Is it brave to go to the European market right now, or are you looking for cheap value? What's the reason behind being in Europe in a state of the European debt crisis?
I think there is no perfect time. When you look at it, when you bought Satya, I didn't take Mahindra, and then when we bought Satya, it was 2009. And trust me, it's not that I had all the capital. I had to borrow capital to complete that acquisition. And people did say that you're brave, and somewhere the government is saying fortune favors the brave. That's very good, so I'm going to try my luck again.
Yeah, seems to have worked so far. Can I come back to the aerospace industry? You mentioned the OEMs, Boeing and Airbus, the large sort of manufacturers that pull all together these aeroplanes. They're in a phase now where we're probably at the end of the order cycle, and that certainly seems to repeat right now. The big challenge is now an engineering one, making sure that the supply chain works, the ramp up as we go through this process. It's your sense, therefore, I'm just kind of getting a little hint of this, that you feel that maybe they're not as efficiently set up as they could be at the moment for that ramp. And do they need to improve the technology? Because in the last cycle they didn't do it profitably.
I think if you really look at the aerospace industry, the bigger challenge is that, all of them are now, the bigger manufacturers have clearly, a little challenge on government and defense buying reducing.
Yeah.
All the austerity measures ultimately are impacting them. So if the military part of the business is impacted, but if you look at the commercial business, they're sitting on a backlog of 7 years or 8 years or 6 years, depending on the manufacturer that you talk to. Now, my personal belief is that the cycle time to market, the cycle time to bring in a new product is unusually long. And I I strongly believe that that's an area where the aerospace industry needs to focus on. And number two, the industry is cyclic. It will have its ups and downs.
Yeah.
And if your own internal response time is so big, I mean, you're not going to be very efficient.
So let's take a look at Airbus. The A380 took a long time. They had massive wiring problems there. They're struggling to bring the 350 to market quickly. There have been delays there. You're saying that you believe that there could be significant advances.
I strongly believe that, and the only reason I'm saying this is not that I need to play a role, it's all of us. As I said, this is the aerospace and defense ecosystem. The whole point is that, for example, I'll just take an example. At Mahindra's, cycle time of 3 years from a date of concept of a car to getting into official production, 3 to 4 years is considered normal. Now, when we challenge the paradigm, when we started talking about why can't we reduce the cycle time by 30%, I mean, the first reaction by everybody else. So it is never about only your own engineering. It's all about because the whole cycle around is built around your various manufacturing plants, various ancillaries, various suppliers, and you need to bring everybody together